Hi, I'm Greg Bullock from Algebra and Words, and this is another episode of my collection series. And for National Cereal Day 2020, I decided to get out a rare and weird collection of mine that I think you're going to find interesting. So a little backstory is that when I was a kid, for some reason, I found cereal boxes interesting. I think because of the way that they would change, and as a kid, I liked the cartoons on it. And also, I was a big fan of sports, so I got a lot of Wheaties, and I like to save the Wheaties boxes. So anyway, in this video, I'm going to share some of my interesting cereal boxes from the 90s with some interesting athletes and other things on it, as well as a couple of the interesting toys and prizes that came inside the box or things that you had to send away for with the UPC. So anyway, for National Cereal Day, let's get started. So the first one that I have is just a plain Wheaties box front cover. And on the back, if you can see, there are a number of old Wheaties boxes that were kind of memorialized, which I found interesting, and that's one of the reasons why I saved it. On the back, you had some from 1925, 1937, and also, if you can see in the very middle there, you can see one of Bruce Jenner, who at the time was considered one of the greatest athletes on earth, if not the greatest. And at the bottom is just the one that you see on the front. Okay, and then the next one is a classic one, which is Michael Jordan. And everybody loves Michael Jordan. He was the best athlete probably in the 90s, probably the best, if not one of the best basketball players ever. And you can see the Michael Jordan Wheaties cover. I cut out the ball on top that went over top of the box. And then on the back, you could send away to get a Michael Jordan basketball, which I did not do. And the next one is a Tiger Woods Grand Slam Wheaties cover, which was really cool. I think around the time that Tiger Woods was getting his claim to fame as being one of the greatest golfers ever. So there's the Wheaties cover of that. And on the back there, you can see is a couple of his championships, the US Open Championship, the PGA Championship, and the Masters. And I don't follow golf, also the British Open, but I guess when you win those four, that makes you the Grand Slam champion. So I guess that's why that says that at the bottom. Then the next one is a football player. You probably know Barry Sanders from the Lions. That's a cool cover. And then on the back of that was a couple little descriptions about Barry Sanders. And if you sent away for this one, you would get a $10 off Foot Locker with a $30 purchase, which I did not use. And then the next one is Lance Armstrong, debatably the best cyclist ever, and this was probably before the steroids scandal, but regardless, he's still considered one of the greatest of the Tour de France, won many championships there, and on the back there, another picture and a little description on him there. And then is a cornflakes cover, and this is of Jeff Gordon and Terry Labonte. And again, I just basically saved these because I thought they were cool. I was never really much into racing, but I'm sure this is pretty vintage by now. And if you look on the back, you can see another picture of those two guys. And there's also a little description at the bottom referencing Hendrick Motorsports. I don't really know what that is. Maybe some people out there do. Maybe you could leave some comments in the description box below about that if you know anything about that. And then the next two are of Jackie Robinson. First black player in Major League Baseball, played for the Dodgers. This one here is one of the honey frosted Wheaties. I don't know if they make that much anymore. And that was a different cover than this one, which was the regular Wheaties. and this was celebrating his 50th anniversary since he started in baseball. Get a good look at those. And on the back the backs are the same. It's just a couple more vintage pictures of Jackie Robinson with a little description and also a book offer at the bottom, which I did not get. And this one here is just another bigger cover of Jackie Robinson. So I probably had a bunch of boxes back around that time. And the back is the same, just some more vintage pictures. And probably the same book offer. And then the next few that I have gets into baseball. I know baseball season's about to open soon, so you guys might like this. Especially if you're a Nolan Ryan fan, one of the greatest pitchers ever. I was a Nolan Ryan fan. And this was when he played for the Rangers, but he did play for a few teams. So there's the cover of that. And this was for Crispy Wheaties and Raisins. I don't know if they make that anymore either. And then on the back is just another picture with a little description on Nolan Ryan's career. And then continuing with baseball is All-Star Infielders. And this one has 3 of the great infielders, Ryne Sandberg, Cal Ripken Jr., and Mike Piazza, who was a catcher for the Dodgers at the time. And then on the back, there's some more players, and these are kind of cut-out baseball cards, which surprisingly I did not cut out. I was a big baseball card collector. I'm hoping to make a video on some of those. And there's also an offer where if you send in the UPC and $2.99, you could get a baseball of one of your favorite players. The one in the middle there is Ken Griffey Jr. And if you like Ken Griffey Jr. and some of the power hitters, you're going to like this cover. And this one had Ken Griffey Jr. and Mark McGwire and Tino Martinez from the Yankees. So a bunch of the power hitters there. And then on the back, actually on the side panel, which I saved, were some of the statistics of those power hitters. And then on the back was just some little profiles of those players and more with this little tiny description of each. So the next few that I have are really interesting, and let me show you the front cover. And this one was from the Wheaties 75 year of Wheaties anniversary. So it's the cover, and it's got a collage of a bunch of the greatest athletes ever. And just a few notable is, one you can see is Tiger Woods, and another interesting one, again, is Bruce Jenner up here. And on the back of that was some more of the old Wheaties covers down here. And an offer, well, it's not really an offer, but it's a cutout that you can send in to vote for your 10 favorite Wheaties champions. I don't know if you can see that there. But then continuing with that box, and I think this came with that box, it came with you could use this to vote. And this is probably not a complete list, but it is a pull-out, sort of like a poster, but not quite a poster. And this shows a lot of the Wheaties covers from the beginning all the way up through today. So there's a lot of old ones going back to 1934. Jack Armstrong, Lou Gehrig, Jamie Foxx, Lefty Gomez, and just a lot of the greats. Lefty Grove. And then a couple years later were just some of the plain Wheaties boxes, but then we continued on with more athletes. Some of these look like they were sort of animations or just comics-like drawn in. And then continuing up through the ages, some of these are the more recent players and more recent Olympics, and I actually have at least one of these, which I'll show you in a second. And finally, at the very bottom, more recent, is the Olympics women hockey team from 1998 and Tiger Woods from 1998. I think that might be that's not the one that I showed, but it's a little bit different, probably the same time period. And then also you could use this card to vote on your favorite cover. But then in addition to that, what it also came with, I believe it came with it right in the box, is this. And what it is a calendar of Wheaties Covers. So this is one of the vintage Wheaties baseball covers from the 1930s. Then some from the 1940s. I don't really remember those characters, those players much. Then we get into the 60s. We see Jackie Robinson. We see Bob Richards, the cyclist. I don't really know who that was. And a basketball player, Bob Cousy. And this next one I found really interesting. We have Walter Payton on the left. We have Roger Staubach here. And then in the middle is Bruce Jenner, now Caitlyn Jenner, who was, again, one of the greatest athletes considered at the time because he was an Olympic decathlon champion. Then as we go forward, we see the classic Michael Jordan in that pose, like the Air Jordan pose. Then we see tennis player Chris Everett, and we see the great Mary Lou Retton, gymnast, gold medalist, right here. And then Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, Michael Johnson, the fastest man in the world, and also Ken Griffey Jr., one of the greatest players ever, especially at the time. And then the last page is just a collage of some of the old Wheaties covers. So I have a few more treats for you. And let's take a look at the next one, which is one of the Olympics Wheaties covers with Dan O'Brien. And if you remember, they ran ads back then asking who was better, Dan or Dave. This is Dan O'Brien. I think he was a decathlon athlete. And then moving along, we have just a classic Wheaties cover. It's just Wheaties with the USA, which is from 1996. And it's kind of got like a shiny, glossy USA logo on the front. But then also when you go to the back, you can see it goes by a few years of Olympics. From 1896 to 1996, 100 years of Olympics. And they just give a few highlights of each athletic performance and accolades of each year. So continuing, I also saved a cool one, which was the Cheerios, Team USA Cheerios, also from the Olympics. And it came with different types of Cheerio cereals mixed in, probably rice, wheat, and oats, with a frosted covering on a couple of them. But also, if you see that free inside, if you can see there, it came with coins. And surprisingly, I have two of the coins. And one of them is here, which is figure skating. Looks like there's a big glare there, but figure skating. And this one's from 1998. And then the other one is from 96. And on the other side was from Atlanta, 1996, diving. And then the next cereal box cover that I have, I'm almost done, is just a pretty plain one of Lucky Charms. I think they change these all the time. But if you notice here, it says, with 2 UPCs, you could send in to get a free musical bank. And guess what I found in the archives? I found the bank that I got with that proof of purchase. And I tried it with a coin before. The sound doesn't work anymore. But this is the bank, and it's still in pretty good shape. And then almost last but not least is this one, which is a Frosted Flakes cover. And this was when they were doing throwbacks of the really old vintage cereal boxes. And if you notice here, that with 4 proofs of purchase and postage and handling, you could send in to get the set of bowl set of the vintage characters And again, back then, my mom helped me out and we got the bowls. So this one is Rice Krispies, Snap, Crackle, and Pop. This one is Kellogg's Corn Flakes with the rooster. This one is Fruit Loops with Toucan Sam. And of course, Tony the Tiger from Frosted Flakes. Almost done. I have a couple more left. And one of the prizes that I got back then, I'm going to bring it up to the front. This was a little popper toy from Rice Krispies. And this one was Crackle. And the way that these toys worked was you'd flip the bottom open, put it on the table, and it would flip up. And then the two last ones that I have, which are really cool, are the Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers characters. I believe these are Chip and Dale. I don't know which are which at the moment, but here they are. These came right in the cereal box, and I still have them, still in pretty good shape. So anyway, thanks for watching my little video on cereal collections for National Cereal Week, and I hope you have a good National Cereal Week, and hope you catch me in the next video on another collection. Thanks for watching.